You still haven't fixed that clock.
1 minute ahead or behind?
Ahead.
1 minute ahead.
We used to the last one for 6. What do we have to do?
It's construction business.
Oh, I don't know. I don't live in that business. I live in the design part phase of it.
How's the design business?
Great.
So how did your daughter's thing go?
Which one?
The one from
Oh, it was awesome.
Oh,
I was out of tears and proud papa. I was a proud dad.
that's cool.
It was really, and it was a great timing for her, you know, and her time in her life. And none of the girls that were on the royalty were like, they were the super high, right? Were the super popular, they were like the nerds.
Yeah. That's a
This conference will now be recorded.
The athletes and the nerds of that group, so.
Do you need a table too, Jen?
Yes.
I said,
I'm gonna have to look on some of yours, I didn't get a chance to bring everything up.
that's okay. You just have to ignore my notes that I write on. And then Carol, I told Carol the other day, I said, print it out. I don't know how many times you printed it out, so I had to go through it and figure out, well, I had to find it. Oh my God. That's what it is, you know? So much
All right, everyone, this is the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Today is October the 13th, 2022. It is 5:30 p.m. and we will bring this work session to order. Before we proceed on with business, a couple of things I'd like to mention. One, I did send the agenda a little earlier than I would have, so a lot of supporting information and documents were not available to be sent to you till thereafter, that I had to be out of town for a few days last week, so I had to get that out everybody in advance and so it could be posted on the necessary places for posting. Secondly, tonight, Brittany Flores, who does all of our administrative work, is ill. She's working from home tonight, but she is taking the notes. She will be taking roll call, and as she said a few minutes ago, please speak as closely to the microphone as possible so that that everything is as audible for her. Can you hear me all right, Brittany? Brittany?
Yes,
Okay,
I can hear you.
just making sure. And then thank you. And in the agenda tonight, because of Brittany's absence from the building, she was not able to compile a financial report, so there is no financial report included in the packet this evening. Third thing I have also, and it's up to the board when we get to the regular meeting, I'd like to ask for an amendment to the agenda to add the cost of not much, but somebody's money, a bill for Cedar Street printing. I did put at your seating places this evening a sizable packet of information. That information is put together for me by Ron Lagerman up at the Cedar Street Printing. So when we get to the regular agenda, at the beginning, if we can I'll ask if there's agreement or a motion for the amending to add that. If not, we can bring it on to next month's business. That being said, we move on to item number 1 on the agenda this evening, and it is a facade incentive improvement application. And that application was submitted by The Other Place is Greener. The applicant's name is Kelly Crawford, a representative from The Other Place this evening. please come forward. For the record, if you would identify yourself.
Hello, my name is Kelly Crawford, and I'm the operations manager for the Other Places Greener.
Okay. All right. So you have submitted an application, that application is for, and you submitted that application, it includes the estimate from company, I don't know the name of it, but it also included pictures of that building that are on the corner, it would be the northwest corner of the building, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. That said, I will, we had that opportunity and everyone got that information in their packet. So I will go from one side, beginning with Commissioner Howlett, and you can, well, first, before I go, is there anything you would like to say in addition to your application that you submitted? Is there any other information that you would like to verbally provide or discuss or whatever else?
I just wanted to elaborate on the damage that the sign sustained, just for clarity. We had that.
Well, that microphone, maybe, I'm hoping it's on.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but I don't know.
Brittany, can you hear her?
Yeah, I can hear.
The sign, which is our exterior sign, it is a neon sign, probably from the early 1900s when the building was constructed, but it received an excessive amount of damage from the hailstorm that hit town back in July. So we have some letters that are missing, and then as a result, it's just not safe to operate anymore because the hail broke through the internal pieces of the sign and damaged the transformers. And because it's such an old sign, it's not modernized, I received an estimate from a company called Yesco that is based out of Colorado Springs, and this work would be to restore the sign completely, and so that it's modernized and safe as well.
Commissioner Howlett.
Comments with regards to this?
Yeah, you.
I love that sign. I would like to know the agent because it really is something that makes a lot of sense. I like that a business moved right in there. It's already kind of passed some of the tests of transference of tenancy. It's still there, tenants are all there. So if you look at item 5 on the basic requirements, they fill all those things, but I think item 5, the way I'm interpreting it, is if the building facade is historic, the project must restore and improve the historic facade to the extent possible in accordance with Colorado historic guidelines or similar guidelines in effect with the city of Trinidad. So I think that's a historic sign. Certainly with the Fox Theater coming in the line and some of the things that are going to go in that area, having a little bit of neon from those days, really I think brings the character of this town that we were actually a participant in those neon days. The alternative to that, the counter argument to that is ineligible expenses, item 5. These comes in 5, seems like. And that's TURA typically does not reimburse on costs associated with signage, landscaping, or other features that might be changed or removed should the property change tenants. Again, I would kind of submit that it's already past the changing in tenants. I think it's moved from all kinds of things, and now it's one of our cannabis businesses in that area. So, and I do focus on the typically, I'm a word guy, so I focus on typically does not reimburse those things. But when I'm looking at this, I see that as being a great opportunity for TURA to be involved in resurrecting an old neon sign from the early 1900s and bringing it forward. So that's my comments.
Mr. Cochran.
Well, I was gonna bring up the same two number 5s. All right, so are we going to restore this back to its original condition, or are we going to upgrade it so that we're not gonna have the continuous problems that the old electrical?
Yes, so the intention is to put the sign back in working order, so from a passerby, completely fully lit. And from a functionality perspective, the sign would be brought up to the modernization that it would need to be for an exterior neon sign.
Okay, and then all the painting behind it and all of that also to really make it pop.
Yep, good as new.
All right, well, I'm gonna go with you on the typically. Sounds like a good word to use.
Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, and good evening, Kelly, right? A couple questions I have for you is, I believe you're the tenant, you're the leasing. of the property, or are you the owner of the building?
The owner owns the business, I run the business.
So you represent the business here?
Yes,
Okay, so the applicant is actually Eva
Luvano, she's our owner,
Lavon,
yes,
so you're here on her behalf?
correct.
Okay, so we don't have to have any letters of authority or approval from the landowner, from the property owner itself, or since you're representing, would that, how does that work? Because the agreement, if we approve or move forward for the agenda item, will be between us, Urban Renewal, and Eva Lavano.
Well, it'd be
No,
between her representative.
it was actually
Let me,
with the applicant, because
Yeah.
we did that as well. We've already had that happen when we did the Main Street Light. So that was provided, we would just need a
letter.
letter from the, as they did, to say, yes, we're in agreement with it.
okay. And, the neon sign, I'm not sure, Pat, how old it is. I lived here. I don't know if you guys remember. I remember when there was usually the sun, it was the Sunside. I'm looking this over. The Sunnyside Bar Tavern, and was neon up on that when it was that? I don't remember.
I would have to follow up on
But I remember drinking my fair share in the other place when former owners had it, and it's a beautiful building. I see no other issues other than what's pointed out by my fellow two commissioners so far. That's all I have there. Sure.
Commissioner Leone?
I'm kind of torn. I like the idea of replacing an old sign, but I also.
Not replacing.
Not, well, they are replacing it.
Refurbishing.
Refurbishing, that's a good word. There you go, refurbishing the old sign. But on the same aspect, number 5 typically says that we do not reimburse on costs associated with signage. So I would not know how to go around that. And that's just my opinion. Go ahead. You're next.
I'm not opposed to, anything like that as far as I'm concerned. Hail damage in here, of course, a lot of different places, so, it's an older building and the sign represents that building. So I'm not opposed to that.
Can I add one more thing? Would there be any other incentive that the owner of the building might be willing to do, like update the paint on the building facade itself? Or, I mean, if we're gonna go forward and restore this historic sign, can she put a little meat in the game also?
We did a facelift on the building when we opened, but this is our 5th year, so I'm certain we're due for some refreshing. So I'm sure that's something that we could also look into as a part of the whole exterior.
And maybe we could add that into because we have a larger availability of monies. Maybe we could add that into it. So instead of your request being 4,500, maybe it could.
What is on the second floor? What is on the second floor?
The second floor is
Hold on one
vacant.
second. Your question or suggestion, Commissioner Cochran, is to?
To go ahead and facade the whole, not just the sign, but let's freshen up the whole thing. That is why we do want Main Street to be
Facade.
fresh and
Right.
clean, right? So
Facade.
since we're 5 years into a paint job that's probably seeing its wear, maybe we also include that. We do the sign and we make sure the paint gets refreshed and the building gets power washed, and we turn it into
It shines.
Yeah.
a diamond.
Commissioner
What is on the second floor?
So the second floor is vacant at the moment. We have future plans but I believe that's for another conversation with the city.
Well, I would be curious as to what those plans are.
Because that's one of the things, if it's for housing or those kinds of things in the area, you may want to get to know us a little bit and come back and give us some of those plans of putting into housing or putting into other areas, so we can actually do some infill to really take the building in there, because that's part of our It's also part of our charter to try and look for opportunities. And if we've got a good relationship with maybe this, if this ends up being our first success, maybe our second success can actually be with regards to maybe.
And there's actually some incentives in the city right now
Exactly.
with funds available.
So that's me. Thank you,
If
Chair.
that is going to be residential,
It just needs a new address.
That's
You
it.
know, like an A or a B, it's 4-6, sorry,
That's our
Sorry.
general manager.
sorry, sorry.
You can come forward if you want, but you have to be, you need to identify yourself.
Hi, Mike Evans, general manager of the other place. From what I understand, it's the same exact address as
below.
the dispensary, and so anything that isn't a dispensary or cannabis or anything needs to be.
What was it prior?
It,
Residents.
it was a
So
residence
we
in a
don't have to change
brothel.
occupancy or
from
anything
what I
like that.
understand.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we need to discuss that.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Another time.
would
Yeah,
like
yeah.
to add to your point about the sign. When, Mike, you were here for this and I wasn't, so help me if I need some guidance here. But before the store opened, I believe the agreement was to keep the other place in the name of the business because of the historical factor of the exterior sign. And that's how we've modeled our business after the
Having
neon
that working sign.
The other place has remained and we had just added the evolution of the building in greener.
And to add to that other place, it is on High Street.
Correct?
And
All right, couple things, I do, because I grew up on this side of the council, I can tell you about that. The original sign, I don't know if it remembers the sunny side or not, but the sunny side would have been the original, if there's any historic content to it, it would have been the sunny side. It's not that, I don't believe it was the other place. The other place came in probably 1980s, somewhere around there, after being located in two other places in Trinidad. So the other place, I don't know what it has of historical significance on that sign. The structure may have been there previous to that, but the other place itself, I can pretty much tell you, I don't think it has any historic relevance as far as that is concerned. Okay, so like I say, I'm very familiar with that side of town, and as with the sunny side, with Claude Lambert, he owned and operated, so I'm very familiar with it. I'm familiar with the Razumovs who operated previously, so I can say, I know the building is old, the building itself has some historic significance to it, but the sign itself, again, if the sunny side had it previous to that, I don't know, when it was, but this, I don't believe this, the signage, the neon tubing, the finish may have been changed out by the ownership of the other place, but I don't know that we can consider that to be of historical, of anything of historic significance. So from that's my part on that. The other part is where I'll address. I'll go to the. When you got the application submitted, did you see the guidelines as well? Were you provided with a copy of the guidelines in addition to it? So you're familiar with what we have in there. It's under basic requirements. It's got to be a facade restoration or improvement, and then under eligible expenses, the typically does not reimburse on costs associated with signage. So you are familiar with those. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I have a little bit of a problem. I don't interpret this the same way. I consider it a sign and not the facade, and therefore that one, to me, I don't feel that it falls within eligibility. To address your comments, Commissioner Cochran, about making this a larger amount of money granted, the document itself, the incentive, the very last section to it notes that we will incentivize up to 25% of the project costs to a maximum of $10,000. We don't have the authority to amend that.
that's why I was asking if the owner would get some meat in the game also. So I can't see that facade costing more than that, but
Well, I think the owner's skin in the game is going to be the difference between the amount requested on the application and that YESCO, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
And YESCO's bid of $17,000. So the owner does have skin in the game because we only go to 25%.
Right.
So they have to have 75%, you know, if it's an eligible application or if it fits the guidelines. So from that aspect, the owner is in on it by 75%. You know, for whatever else goes beyond that, you know, that becomes another matter. But the matter of discussion tonight is the repair replacement of neon tubing, which has been estimated at $17,000 plus, and the request is for 25%. And I gotta go to another document here.
I guess what I'm saying is that we have a maximum of $10,000 at
Which we need.
25%, so if the number changes,
Right.
you see what I'm saying?
That might be the case, but that's not the application in front of us tonight. That is, you know, if that becomes a new application, or this one withdrawn and another one is submitted, but that's not the application tonight. I don't know that it's up to us to make that amendment or a suggestion at this particular time. Commissioner Bailey.
Insurance is not in,
We're going down that path. I started here because of the stipulations of this committee to see, we're trying to get help from any potential offerings that we can get. We have insurance, we're looking into that. And, you know, it was suggested to us by members of the community that this is an avenue that we can see if it will help.
Sorry if any of y'all are in the insurance industry, but their business model is to not pay out. And they're really trying to not give us any money. They're doing everything they can, ignoring the clauses in the thing that say $10,000 of coverage for a sign. It's written in there right now. They're trying to say that this is damage to the building and that our building deductible is literally $18,000. And so we have to pay our entire cost to repair the sign to get the insurance company to step in, despite the clauses in the insurance contract that clearly just say that they cover $10,000 for hail, wind, water, and damage directly in the policy. And they're just trying not to pay out. Like I said, sorry if y'all are in the insurance, but like they keep money by not giving it to you. And they're trying
That
not
aside,
to.
Chair.
Commissioner Hallett.
I see neon as historic. Age kind of things, if you say it was in the 80s, well, you know what, pretty soon the 80s are going to be historic if you invest in things.
You can get a historical plate for 80s.
Exactly, so historic is, one can't say, I think history is only in the 1900s to 1920, and anything else isn't. But I also believe in that area of the district that we're trying to go, I like that they think that TURA, and I'd like more folks that own buildings in our district to think that TURA is a place to come to and look at.
I too would like to see.
And say, you know what, we don't know if you're we don't know if you're the end, but you sure should be in along the line. And so I do believe neon's historic. I think that area is historic. I think when the Fox opens up with a broken sign across the street, not being able to repair because we didn't invest as a community that has some funds into it, I think we will actually be disappointed that sign's not up and running. Now, certainly you can always say it's up to the business owner to do that stuff. But quite frankly, urban renewal was developed because owners sometimes couldn't and wouldn't invest in their properties. We have lots of those properties around town. I see it as an opportunity. I see it as historic. That area, the neon, what we're trying to do in that area, and the flavor that'll go there. And so and again, typical means that you sometimes don't do that, but it also means sometimes if extenuating circumstances come up and you have an opportunity to do good things, that you may do it. Thank you, Chair.
So then, I've got another question then relates to insurance. So then, if there's $10,000 worth of coverage for the sign, and you're able to collect it, that makes this repair, this particular part of the repair worth $7,000, does it not?
They're actually not able to collect the 10,000 because the
We don't know that.
company is.
We don't know that.
Yeah,
I think that's a good point, Jeff, yeah.
We don't know that. I mean, there's still a situation pending.
Yeah.
Which in fact, if it does, unfortunately, I'm in the insurance business. But
Unfortunately for us.
And it sounds like you got a 2% deductible, right?
yeah, there's difference on.
So you got $900,000 of building coverage. You've got an $18,000 deductible.
Yeah.
You've got a $2,000, 2% deductible. I know what you're talking about, and I know what it is, probably what the grievance is going on. But in the end result is that the insurance company acquiesces and provides payment for that sign.
I do. It's been 3 days and they said, I'll get right back to you. And it's been
So
3
Chair,
days.
we're not voting on this tonight, eh?
We're not voting on this, but
So if in the meantime, you have other options and other doing things, we'd like to actually withdraw those funds if you have to do it, because we'd like to put those $4,500, as you can see, in other areas. So I would certainly think that we're, I think that's a great
it's a
point.
question to be asked. I mean,
You
it
bet.
has to be brought up, because that $17,000, if in fact they're going to, it would be, so that sign was fully operational before the hailstorm?
Yeah, in fact, we just spent $1,200 getting the transformer replaced and it didn't even make it, not even 6 months, when that storm blew through. And yeah, in the insurance clause, it says hail, wind, and water right there, up to $10,000 in coverage per incident. And so, yeah, ideally they're gonna do it, but they're already trying not to. And we already had to confront them and say, well, why are these clauses in the contract? Yeah, hopefully, yeah, they pay out and then the cost would be $7,000, and what, 25% of $7,000 is way less than 25%.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
and it's not like we're trying to work in that direction either, but there is relevance to it.
Yes.
That's why I bring it up, because this is, these are funds that are available, but then these are public funds that are available.
Yeah.
And therefore, we have to bring all those factors into consideration. So, there's a couple things here that would be required, and Commissioner Lopez brought that one. There's a letter, there has to be a letter, and it's stated in there that if it's, and I think it might be on the application form itself, but it does say that if this is a tenant application, that the owner needs to provide, who owns the sign? The building owner, or, I mean, is the other place, is Greener?
It's E&R Retail, and Eva is the owner of E&R Retail LLC, and Kelly and I make every decision for the business. Eva doesn't make a single business
So
decision.
Eva owns the building in one entity, is it LLC or something?
Yeah, E&R.
And
The other place is also owned by the same
Okay, so
LLC.
they're one and the same, only separate
Yes.
filed entities. All right.
Yes.
All right, well, what is, and I think we've all expressed our opinions here. What is your desire, what's the course of action? It's one, we hold this to go forward, if there's these other things to be considered, which would have to come in at November, something, an MOU or something from Eva, owner of the building, to Eva, owner of the sign, that needs to be in there. You might at that point have some additional information regarding what your situation is with the insurance company, and which, modifies that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that has any bearing or not. So, you can either, tell me how you want to deal with this evening. This is a board decision. What's your preference?
We're not making a decision on this right now, and the information you provided gives us some cover to not have to make a decision right now, and I'm appreciative because it is public funds.
Well, we're not making a decision right now. Our decision
So-
would be that we would take this to a regular meeting, which would then become approved, because it's an expenditure of funds. It would go to a regular meeting. So this is the initial review of the
So
application.
you have homework to do. You have to get that letter, you have to comply with what the requirements are. So you have to get that letter and you have to submit that in a timely manner. Second thing is you have to work with your insurance company to see if that moves forward. And then I would also suggest that at the same time, you take The commissioner, you take Commissioner Cochran's idea of looking at it as a facade, the whole thing, maybe jumbo it a little bit, you know what I mean? And bring it up to where it's there. That's my thoughts on those things. It's now back to you guys.
All right. I'm in agreement on the same way. I think that if you look at this as getting the entire building's facade done, which would also include the sign, and then you find out what your insurance company will cover. You know, we have a certain cap on the funds that can be available to you. So you might want to look at those numbers and look at what you need to get done and see with your next application, how you'd like to facilitate that.
Thanks guys for coming tonight, and I think these two gentlemen said pretty much what we're all thinking. I recommend a holding pattern for right now until you get some homework done and see what happens. But I also like to make a statement that just because it's a small business and marijuana business, everybody thinks us business owners are making money hand over fist. I own the liquor store up the street from Youngs and Mines. So I understand the lighting and the expense and all that stuff and the lights, and I truly do. So that's what this group is here for, to help small businesses in this business. Doesn't matter what retail industry you're in or in insurance for that matter. But this might be a good time to look at your insurance and possibly reevaluate the company you're with moving forward on the owner's standpoint. But I would recommend a holding pattern until you get back to the chairman directly to see if we move forward, put in an agenda item once you get a word from your insurance company. So thanks, Chairman.
Commissioner Leo.
I think the biggest hold off is the insurance company. Because that would make a difference in what we could do and what we are able to do.
I feel you came to the right spot. I think we can help you. But I think we just have a little bit more to do. And like everybody said, I'm just echoing what everybody else did say. But I think you're going to get some help from the insurance company. I think and we're here to help you. So, you know, you came to the right place. And like I said, we're just starting off. And I think everybody in agreement here, we're glad you're here. I think it's going to work for you. Thank you.
Thank you for the information.
Okay, well, I get final. Yeah, but I think they've outlined what it is that you'll have to come back with in order to provide any further consideration on it. I don't agree with, there's an application in front of us, and that application is specific to what it is. And I don't know that we as a board, coming through the door, we know what we do and what we're here for. But under, it's one part of the application, the applicant has stated what they're after, and that's what we're working on.
Okay.
I mean, whatever direction it goes from there, but there's an application that came in front of us under the guidelines of the policy, the facade document that we have, and the agreements on the application. So, to do that, that's going to create a new application. This application is, this one. So for changing that, I mean, that's where it's at, so.
Right. Yes.
Let me know if you have any questions.
We will do what we need to do and then submit a new application if it turns out that's the right way to go.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being here.
All right, moving on tonight with the agenda, item number 2, facade incentive improvement application updates for Kip Hamden. And I was in contact with Carl Gabrielson a couple times, and he was going to provide me with some updates on what's out there. We did approve an application for 319 West Main Street, which is on the next block up on Main, and I believe everybody did. You can see that there's was an OSB board that has the front end. He did tell me recently when I attended the opening or the open house at the Fox that behind that OSB board is actually the steel structure for that facade, and they're just waiting for some other encasements to happen, and the glass of that portion will be done. So there is progress on it, just progress can't be seen from this side of the OSB board. They were also going, that's the update that he had provided at that point was supposed to be providing us with some additional update. And then also, he did provide a copy, or he did provide an estimate of what the cost would be for the facade renovation on 313 West Main, which we know as where the Chronicle News is currently situated. And I thought he would be here this evening, so that's the best that I can provide based upon the information that I have available. And so, you know, we're moving toward year end. We need to make some kind of movement on it, make a determination if this is an amount that is going to get, amounts that are going to be paid at what point, or do I try to avoid a carryover into next year's budget? I mean, if they're there, if things don't happen at a given time, it has to carry over, and you know, I like not to. But that's the information I have available as of today. There's no other discussion. I don't know if we can go any further with it this evening when I brought you the information, both verbally and written, that I have available.
Chair, we should have an applicant be here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what we can do with this.
Yeah. Okay, that being said, we'll move on to item number 3, the 2023 budget preliminary draft. And I kicked this around a few times, just trying to figure out what estimates, these are my estimates, and everybody has been provided with information regarding the most recent financial information we have was at month end August, and trying to estimate bills that may be paid for the end of the year. That's why I've come up with what the cash on hand would be at the end of the year. And my narrative provided my reasons of what I provided in there. But then again, this is a TURA budget, so therefore open to discussion, open to suggestion, open to modification by the board. Commissioner Howell.
Well, I prepared something and sent it to everybody a while back, right after that last meeting. I think this is an opportunity, again, I'm always looking for opportunities. The facade program, so I'll go down, I'll try and be clear. The facade program, I'd like to place a hold on facades after we get through this. So I'm with the chair. Let's, whoever wanted to put a facade in, let's do that this year. Let's try and use some of last year's budget. Let's get you in, show up. I'd like to put a hold on that. I think we need funds for some other areas, and I don't think that's our best and most mission-oriented work. Renovation project, I look forward to learning more of what constitutes a renovation project, because I don't see those in any of our plans. Pre-development expenses, wishful thinking here, but I'd like to increase that and start working a little bit more into who can we work with that's actually trying to do some things, planning, that kind of thing. Legal expenses, travel and training. Certainly legal, I look at legal as a line item on its own. I don't see that as travel and training. To me, if I were line iteming these things, they wouldn't be in the same area. But I suggest a higher figure there. I propose doubling it to $30,000 and understand what this might mean, pulling from reserves, possibly renovation projects, move those funds around. We need to know what we don't know as soon as possible to formulate future plans, and I believe we need legal counsel in order to do that. Certainly if we start looking east of us at Cougar Canyon, there's a real opportunity there that we can actually get TIF on, that we can actually move forward with. Consulting, admin fees concur with the current funding figure of $25,000. Administrative assistant, this is something I've been moving for. I don't know if the folks that were just here, if we had a director or administrative assistant, if they couldn't have had somebody maybe easier, maybe closer to talk to, and so I think we need somebody to help with regards to proposed hiring a clerical assistant, $14 per hour, 10 hours per week. We'd look at annualized $560 a month, annualized $67.20, It would be nice if Brittany could actually, if her work with the city allowed her to do a part-time thing outside of that work. If that was the case, we could enrich her life a little bit, get her experience of what we need to do, and bring her in that regard. Fallback plan for this position would be to get the city manager to assign this position to the Economic Development Director, Wally Wallace. Where quite frankly, I believe it should be anyway. I don't believe it needs to be the city manager, but I believe since the city is paying for an Economic Development Director, and since TURA is really one of our keys is economic development, when we help do things, there's an economic benefit to that. And so the city would not have to provide any additional funding. We could move that position to the Economic Development Office, and that position would help us a little bit better. And I kind of think, and again, I know in saying this I may, but I kind of think economic development is a lot more than planning events. And I understand there's a lot of events being planned out of our Economic Development Office, and they've been successful, but it's not economic development, that's event planning, that's tourism. And I think that we need to see if we can get with the city manager to move that position that we need in order for us to move forward in some of our plans in the economic development paid position right now. I'm done, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Cocker.
Oh, I was trying to catch up.
I can come back if you want.
Yeah, can you come back?
Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you. Just to remind the board of the bad news that our county assessor brought us at our last board meeting. We really need to consider that and the loss of revenue that we're having, and that's going to really affect how we move forward with the budget for next year. Just keep that in the back of your mind. The other comments that Commissioner Howlett make good sense. I'm going to give you the famous yeah, but. When we have those employee issues at the county level, we have to post them. We have unions we have to do, I'm sure the city does the same thing. So we want to keep that in mind as well before we just go ahead and make suggestions to the city council, which have their own guidelines and their own decision making for their staff. We don't control that. I wish we did, but we don't. So those are some comments that I have. As far as expenses for right now, and going up on some of the travel and training, since there's still Zoom available for a lot of this stuff, I think we accomplish that as much as possible. I know I hate doing those, but they are cost effective especially for a board that doesn't have any money. So those are some of the things that I see in this, and I appreciate Chairman Grego for putting this together and so forth. But I think we're basically in a holding pattern as well for funding it until we get this through. And I'll mention the Cougar Canyon during my commissioner report and the development of that later, which could help this board, so, and our money, but I'll do that in my commissioner report. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Commissioner Leone.
I do agree that I think legal should be separated from traveling and training. And I agree that traveling and training, we should do as much Zoom as possible until we have further monies.
I'm still really new at all this right now, so I say, oh, more money, it's great, but I'm right now I want to be very prudent, and so just in looking at what we have in front of us and seeing how the board is operating and things, I just want to be able to say, I wouldn't say abstain or anything like that, but let's just say I'm still trying to absorb all this, and just to be honest with you, as I'm looking at everything, and I even asked Chairman Grego, just, you know, am I looking at these things right? So as I'm getting my feet wet here, I'm learning a little bit more as we go, and honestly, I'm kind of just kind of filling in, so just to make sure that, you know, learning as I'm going here, so, and that's my assessment at this point.
All right, I'll go back to the narrative that I provided when I sent out the information with the agenda. And first of all, the TIF revenue for the coming year, based upon the information that we've gotten and what county assessor provided us not too long ago, I'm suggesting that we estimate revenue for next year from TIF, $16,500. And maybe, I don't think it's high, I think it's as low as, I think it's a number that we can live with. But we have to live with it. No, we can't, we gotta live with it. That's where I have it, $16,500. We don't know of anything else that'll happen. Maybe we'll be blessed with a piece of land and be able to sell it like we were able to do in 2021. That could happen, and that's what we'll talk about that as we go as well. Pre-development deposits. And if you see where the pre-development deposits and the pre-development expenses are going to be should equal each other. If someone comes through if we got a developer owner that is looking to do something, and there are going to be costs in the pre-development of which we will have an agreement, and those costs are borne by the developer. Okay, those are not costs that we're going to say we'll take it. In. If a developer comes in or owner comes in and is wanting to do that and is looking to have assistance from Urban Renewal, the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority, the pre-development agreement requires that they will be providing the funds for all of that homework to be done. And so it's not costs that we will bear, it's a cost that the developer will bear. That's why it's zero on the revenue and it is zero on the expenses. Should we have something there, those two will have numbers in it based upon what has to go in. If it's a $10,000 deposit, that's where it's going to go. On the expenses side, my thought as well was to suspend, at least for 2023, the facade program until we determine where we're going forward with it. The renovation projects, and it's always a TBD because we don't know what's going to come through the door or might come through the door, and how much of that, any request that comes through the door that we can help with will be, but that's where that $287,500 comes in, which is the number used to balance the books after we have the legal travel training, the consultation and administrative fees. Now, if we back out the legal travel and training and put legal on one line, travel and training, they still have to be in there.
Right.
And obviously Zoom is the best way to do it. And again, there's something in your packet tonight that we'll discuss, which probably requires in-person attendance if it's going to be done. So it doesn't necessarily, if you take out, just create a new line item for travel and training and legal at one, there's still got to be money in the travel and training. I don't see that to be eliminated. In any way.
Well, why? At this point, we know, at this point, we all know what we need to do. We don't need any further training. What we need is legal advice. So why would we need anything in that training?
Well, you have to have some training.
Why would we need it?
But what has been the participation? What has been the last couple of years' participation in trainings? Does most of the board go to all the trainings? Have we taken advantage of the trainings? I love it. Chair Greg, I love that we have that there. Okay, it really helped us get on the thing. I agree with you. We need to have some funds in there. But what's been used in the past? Let's kind of use the past as maybe a base number. And again, I'm going to push for more money into legal.
I'm with you on that. I don't need
what's
further training at this point to take TURA and go to a legal advisor and say, this is our idea, because we know what we can work in, and we need to know legally how can we do this.
I would pull money out of renovation projects to be determined. I would make legal at least $30,000 to $40,000 or better, and I'd put $5,000 into travel and training, hopefully being able to move that later on.
And I'm saying this as one that spent money to go to that training and appreciated and valued that very much so. So it's not, I'm not coming from that guy. it was a hard decision to decide, well, should we use that and continue? But I think we have enough education, minus our one board member that hasn't made it to one of those, that probably should.
Recommend.
At this point, I think we know enough that we need legal advice to know if we can move forward on the ideas that we have. I'm gonna present one tonight that's gonna require some legal advice. It won't require any more training on my part. I already know exactly the hoops I need to jump through, but it will require some legal advice as we go through the project. So I think we all understand what TURA does and what TURA is supposed to be doing and how to go about it. It's just what loopholes do we need to stay out of, and that's the advice we need.
And what opportunities can we take?
Right.
We're not, there was a big epiphany when the county assessor came in and said,
Took all our projects.
most of the property you have here, which at another time I really want to talk about, how is the county able to come in there, a rural organization able to come into an urban organization and help dictate with regards to what would fall under TIF and what would not fall under TIF. And
The county did not.
We did with our agreement.
The agreement. I want to get back to the budget there. Again, I think that in order for us to move forward in where we are right now, in the documents that I've been presented,
We need a lawyer.
in what we've been able to accomplish in the past, in what the opportunities are there that may come forward this evening with regards to Cougar Canyon or whatever, we need to move money from this projected to be determined renovation projects and get TURA on sound foundational grounds on what the organization is, how our bylaws are, what we can and can't do, where the opportunities are. Because right now, most of the TIF that we can get has been gutted from us under the current contract we
Well,
have
sure,
with the
here
city.
it says $16,500 a year.
It's gutted from us. And I would like 2023 for us to be a reorganization year where we take and look at where we really are, how we actually got here, what we've been able and not been able to do, and how we need to fund 2024 when interest rates will be better, when we'll be out of a lot of the problems we have right now. But I'd like for us to say, well, maybe we can't afford some projects and maybe we can't do some things. And maybe, again, our area, our urban renewal area was gutted with regards to our opportunity at TIF. And I'd love to hear the
legislature.
Through bad contracts and other things, in my mind, bad contracts with regards to how we were set up and what we were able to do. The focus ended up, how the focus was, we can go over it another time. My main point is, I would like to see us move money from the future, maybe projects we may have, because we have $287,000 sitting in place where when you look at our area,
Well, these are estimated amounts now. I refer you to the most recent financial statement. That's what we have. And we can make those changes, okay? This is why we're talking about it this evening.
Well, this is an important meeting.
Those changes can be made. That's why I'm asking, where we want to reposition that money, that's fine. I'm okay if you want to take legal travel. I don't want to zero out travel. That's one,
I agree.
Training is not going to be traveled out. Taken out. It has to be in there. If it's 5,000, that's fine. But the legal travel and training, these are numbers, and it's not been eaten up in the past in any of those amounts. And so, we can set that higher. We can set the consulting and administrative fees higher. We can do both of those, and we can bring down what's to be determined in the projects. We can bring that down as well. That's not a problem, because the existence of TURA for any of those projects to happen, even if that's $25, we still have to exist under what all. So we can make those moves. It's not a matter of, this is us setting.
I understand your flexibility.
Yeah, this is our budget. This is what we have to put together. This is what we have to submit for approval by the Department of Local Affairs. We can move those numbers. That's up to the board. If you wanna make those, you know, that 30, you want it to become 40, 45, we can make that happen. And then that number will be subtracted from that renovation projects to be determined. That can happen. I just need those suggestions. I mean, again, I brought this for consideration. Now it's up to this board, because this is this board's budget.
To give you my numbers, $5,000 for training and travel, because I agree with you, we need to have training, and I want to be trained as much as I can. $50,000 in legal, most we've probably ever budgeted there, but try and do the most we've ever done with regards to legal direction.
So you want that number to change into $55,000?
Well, I think legal, consulting, and administration should all be under one category, is that not correct?
No, not necessarily.
No? I mean, isn't that what?
Consulting is different, that's like Eric's who consults.
Yeah, it's best to keep them separate for bookkeeping purposes.
Not gonna go down that at all,
So,
yeah.
I have one question, Chairman. I've been doing budget season right now for $300 million I've looked at this past month. And all of our budgets that I are right now in the process of approving, we develop line items and we have contingency funds, just like we have here in the $287,000 in the renovation project revenue that sits there. So when we basically set the budget, and there happens to be, which in the last 5 years we haven't gone over budget in the county, but if there is a point where we need to do a supplemental budget, we are allowed to do so and pull from that funding. So are we allowed to do that as well? So right now is crucial. Yes, it is crucial setting the budget. However, I am very frugal as it is, so I like to see numbers small. If we need to go into those expenditures, we can do so as a board at that time, right? And utilize some of those funds if we need to. So I would rather see a nice tight budget personally. And then if we need to go into those, to use those, because if we have the projects going,
Luis, they're pulled out of thin air right now anyway.
Not my numbers.
No, all these numbers are pulled out of thin air.
Because we don't know what the projects are.
Okay.
But we don't know what the projects are.
I don't believe there's an unfrugal person on the board. Okay, and I believe most of us have done something with regards to budgets.
So what I'm trying to get my point across is, if we need it, we have it. So I don't think it's so necessary that we make it this much outside of our scope, especially when our funding mechanism is so minimal.
I have a question. You previously went to some training in Colorado Springs, Denver, or, you know, how much does that cost? I wouldn't ask that. You know, we're talking about numbers here.
$450 on my end.
Okay.
And I took it to the fullest extreme. I stayed the night, I got a hotel room, yeah.
I'm just saying.
I drove up,
I
it
didn't
was
mean
free,
to.
I drove up and back and go. The other guys needed to stay the night, so
I mean,
it
you're not
depends.
talking about a lot, right? I mean,
I'm not talking about a lot. And,
No.
you know, and I've never.
Gas
charged-
money for me.
Yeah, I've never charged back.
And
So
if we were talking about doing some training here, right, we were talking about having something here.
We were.
So,
Have you
on
seen
that
that
same
come here?
aspect, we will have to foot the bills, whether we give them water, coffee.
Right?
but it's still.
We need a training budget, $1,000 there.
And for my part, I'm okay with moving those numbers. Because I brought that, and I'm okay with reducing the 287.5 by a proportionate amount to pick up the legal travel and training. We can take that legal travel and training to $55,000 and reduce that 287.5 by an additional $25,000. And that's
Keep the 35 for consulting.
I concur with Commissioner Lopez in this regard. We want to be as frugal with these public funds as possible. We want to be as discerning and as direct with regards to where they are. I do believe raising the legal funds, though, makes a commitment to what we're going to do. I think a budget actually says what you're going to do that next year, not that you're going to save money. Knowing that you can actually do a supplemental budget and bring money in, well, we know we can do that. But making a commitment that we're going to do these things and we budget for those things is different. It's like money you have in your checking account and money you have in your savings account and money you have in your retirement account. You can pull from all of those things if you wanted to. Probably not a good idea. Probably a good idea to let some of those money stay, and I think we do that. But I just am going to kind of push and advocate for a stronger legal budget, consulting budget, those things, to bring aboard that in many cases, we don't know what we don't know. See, Commissioner, you're not the only one that sometimes says, you know, I don't really know in these areas right here.
Right.
But I do know somebody that swims in these waters, somebody that knows urban renewal, somebody that knows this territory can save us a lot of money and direct us on good projects and not good projects. And I appreciate the flexibility you have.
Well, that's not me. Like I say, this is not on me. I
Exactly.
put this together and I go through the processes. This is the Urban Renewal Authority's budget, not mine.
I'm advocating.
And so it needs to go in the direction, if that's what the commissioners want to do, it's okay, those numbers can be changed. And it doesn't necessarily mean because they're changed, you will spend every.
Exactly.
You might set for 50, you don't mind spending 22. I mean, it's not that you're gonna set
Yes,
it
sir.
and it'll be gone, but it does help in the end, you know, without having to do an amendment. So like I say, these numbers are fine, whichever way you want to make them changed. You know, legal, travel, and training, I just gotta drop one line, put legal, and then travel, training in another line. It's not a big deal. The numbers will still coincide.
Yes,
It
sir.
makes no difference where they come from. It's just when QuickBooks, maybe a change for what has to be done on Brittany's side, but it can be changed. I mean, it's not a problem. And again, I'm presenting this because it's me that is in charge of that right now. If there was an ED, I would be.
Sir, better than a blank sheet of paper. I'm telling you that.
So you're in agreement to pull 25,000 of the 287.5 and put it into legal?
I'm okay with it. That's a board decision. That's not,
I still got a question about that.
Yeah.
What are we really, I understand as far as on the legal aspect of it. Are we really going to be needing lots of legal stuff is what we're talking about?
The next project that I'm going to bring to us here, if we get time, or have to get time, it's gonna require some legal assistance. And it's gonna be a project that.
And that's why we're needing to up the.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, yeah, and you know, when you're talking
You don't have to spend.
$300 an hour.
Yeah, we don't have to spend it,
Right.
but we probably will.
Legal's expensive.
Yeah, legal is one of your biggest.
It's crazy.
Even my kids call me a cheapo, so.
Oh, yeah, and this is, like I say, it's been conservative, and I've been conservative for 3 years. We've been since the very beginning. I mean, let me again explain to everybody what the money is that you see even on carryover, because it's been frugal spending so far. The facade project that the facade program that we've had is termed a quick win. That's where we put it in there, but it's not unique to urban renewal authorities. I was on I'll tell it after a bit, but I was on one of the DCI call-ins today, and the URA director from, I think it was Canyon City, was talking about how they were moving forward with their facade program. Lahuna's had one, so they're out there. Those are called quick wins. They're not meant to be the restoration of your
We see the
downtown.
fruits of them, Jared. We see them right here. We enjoy
Yeah,
them.
so
Great event.
they're there. So the monies that we've accrued beginning back for the 2016 tax year that we began in 2017, that's when we started getting it. That's a part of that. $100,000 of what's in the till and still really there, never spent, was from the city of Trinidad in late 2017, I believe, gave us money, $100,000 from the marijuana tax proceeds. And then in 2021, we sold a parcel of land on the 100 block of East Elm Street. The selling price on it was $75,000. After legal and consultation fees, we netted probably about $63,000. So that's the money that you see in there. And it's been relatively small on travel and training, because most meetings for these past couple of years have all been held electronically. They've been via Zoom. It's only been recently that these meetings have been open, and up until that point, everything that has been done has basically been on Zoom. And so,
Continues.
if they offer, doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna be, they will all be offered on Zoom. And for my part, I don't care, I'll be there anyway.
Well, there's some networking opportunities that
Yeah.
we get by being around people.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get to either commiserate or learn lessons from them, so that's where it is. So, I mean, say, those numbers that I gave, again, that's my estimate of TIF revenue. Somebody think that might be different? I can change it.
I'm
That's
also
not a problem.
saying that's just an estimate based on what.
I'm going with you.
Of what we've gotten so far now, and what the bad news is for 2023, because there is an abatement going on for 2023. So those numbers is what I'm using as a worst-case scenario with my little calculator and
I like your
budget
numbers.
little hands at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like I say, I don't know, there's no other anticipated revenue, the pre-development deposits, if a developer comes through, again, if there's something out there, there's a development agreement or pre-development agreement, that will require some money upfront by a developer. That's not costs that are borne by the urban.
Well, we only have these funds by good stewardship of past boards of TURA.
Yeah, that's why
That's a fact.
it's minimal spending. I mean, it's been done. when
Great
it's there, so
stewardship.
it's there. So then I guess the takeaway from here is to get this ready for final review and ultimately public hearing, because there will be a public hearing on this. There will be, I'm gonna do that in, I hope to do it in November, but we'll just do it at our December meeting. There will be a public hearing on it, and if it's, approved at that point, then I'll get it ready for filing with the Department of Local Affairs on the timeline they require. So the takeaway on this is legal, travel, and training to 55,000. Whether I can break that into a subcategory, with 50,000 on legal and 5,000 travel and training. Consultation and admin fees, leave it at $35,000. Can I go for everybody?
That could be used either or, right? Could be, at one point, a lawyer may be a consultant.
Well, no, legal travel and training will stay in that 55. The other 35,000 is going to be for consultation or administrative fees.
Actually, I think, I like that figure because we met some folks at that training that aren't attorneys, but still have a consult. Well, why, they're a deep well of experience and those things.
Less charges.
And less charges, exactly. So that's exactly right. I'd like to see, what can our consultants do? And they'll tell us when they can't do something because they don't want the legal liability either.
All right, so this is what it is. I'm going to reduce the renovation projects by 25,000, and we're going to add 25,000 under the category of legal, travel, and training. And then I'll bring those numbers about, and that's what you'll see. We're still to have the balance number at the bottom.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other comments? All right. We have a second account, and we own another $2,468, which is in the project account, and that one right now is currently being used for the administration of those fees related to the La Puerta project. And in the manila folder that you were provided this evening, the manila envelope, is the cooperation and development agreement, which tells you why we are the administrator of those funds. I told you I'd have those to you, and Commissioner Leone and Commissioner Lopez, you may already have those in your archives, but since I went to the printer, I just brought everybody. And so you can review those if you have questions on it, let me know, but that is the document that governs, and that's what is the procedure why we're running that money through. Anything else on that? Item number 4, the property owner contact letter. That was discussed in the recent past. I presented something, Commissioner Howland presented his suggestions. Those were both put in the packet. Commissioner Howland, we will start on your side.
With regards to this, I'll keep it short. My whole thinking here is that we can provide a lot of good, and we're needed in our community. And not just in the downtown area, but in a bigger area. And so when I wrote, I took the chair's letter and I adapted it a little bit to be more marketing driven, okay? More of an invitation to come see TURA, like the folks that were here earlier. They were recommended to us by other people. I want other people to recommend, when somebody's talking about something, I want them to recommend somebody to come to us. So this was meant to be an invitation. It was meant to be I do marketing copywriting, so it was meant to be no big paragraphs, lots of bullet items, something very easy for somebody to read, and for somebody to say, no, I don't want to accept your invitation. So it's also a filter. If you don't want us then don't come and see us. But if you do, we want to make these things go forward. So that, and again, this was, consider this a draft, that the board can actually address it the same way as I consider the chair's letter as kind of a draft to go on in it. So this was just my take. You guys should have a kind of a copy of that. Again, short paragraphs. Hey, come on, see us. Here's when we meet. Here's what we can do. No legalese, no government speak, none of that kind of stuff into it. Thank you.
Mr. Parker.
I'm in agreement with simplifying it in a way that will attract the community to come in and speak with us. I think having people in here questioning and asking what we can do for them during our work sessions is a fantastic idea. We've had, in the 3 months that I've been on here, we've had 2 people come in. One was the city manager. So we need the community in here. We need their ideas. We need their focus along with what we know we might be able to provide for them. I agree 100%. We leave the government, you know, like you said, hi, I'm the government, I'm here to help. We leave that out and we go with something simple like this that might entice the community to come in and say, well, what are these guys doing? What can they do? And so that's my spiel. Thanks for bringing it up.
Well, thank you for bringing that up because we have a member of our Chamber of Commerce with us tonight. Thank you for being here. We spoke a few days ago and invited the Chamber to come and be present at this to see what TURA does. And this is what we do. We have long-winded discussions.
Wind up with the.
Sorry, it's my turn. I can do that.
It's his comment.
And so these are the issues that are at hand for what we do here. So with regards to the letter, gentlemen, I think both of you have kind of come together, and I would suggest that Chairman Draco and Commissioner Howlett continue to work together on this and blend them together and then bring it before the board and push it forward. I think that the intentions of the development of these letters have all good intentions for the community, and I thank you for your time in doing so.
Mr. Leon?
Yes, thank you. I thought that they were very interesting. But I really think you need to bring one together and then present it. Because I was really confused.
Well, they're just ideas because it's not, it'll be my turn to talk in a minute.
Yes, you have to.
I agree with that, and when I was looking it over and everything, I just agree with Commissioner Cochran on that. And just, let's bring people in, let's get them in here, let's get them enthused. It enthuses us, it gets us, I know we have, walk down the, fine line of what we can and can't do and everything, but at the same time, if we start bringing in people and, they can see what we're all about, like tonight. I thought it was a good thing, but the letters, I think, are doing just that. I felt the town was going to do like good outreach. I really do.
Comes on my shoulders again. Let me, in my comments that I sent out with the agenda, regarding the contact letter, I did add, my last sentence was prior to distribution of a letter to the property owners, does TURA want to talk and have the Q&A session with an attorney before we send out the letter?
Yes,
to make
sir.
sure that, so that, again, we got it for consideration, and the following thing that we're going to talk about here is the legal services part. And so, do we, we've got it, do we take it, digest it, but then again, prepare for, consultation with the legal source.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
With everything that ever goes out.
Okay.
I think
So one other thing that goes with that, now I want to bring it up because it's on my mind, and it will be forgotten if I don't do it when it's on my mind. We will, if when this comes to fruition, then we need to go through, we did get this list of the TIF properties from the county assessor. It contained, I think, over 1,500 parcels with names on it. Well, I went just through the first page. We're gonna have to go through this, because there's not 1,500 to be addressed, I can tell you that right now. I went through this very first page, 45 on that list. I found 31 of them that should not get a letter. They're for, their personal property that aren't even, if you go into the tax assessor's site, they're not even, this is now that they're not enough personal property to be even on a schedule, and they're off. So 31 out of this 45, there's no, and then there's some other ones, if I had a little bit more time, I could have gone into them. So I don't know how many of them are, basically based upon what they are or what they are. Like, I'll give you, for instance, Air Gas USA, an air tank. These big 500-gallon air tanks or whatever they are. And there's actually 2 of them on here, Baxter Health, I think, as well. These are actually these air tanks that are located like behind the hospital, that kind of equipment. That's what you're looking at. So they wouldn't, basically they would fit the program for what Urban Renewal would be doing. So therefore a letter need not go out there. I wouldn't see that going there. So I'm just saying, this list of what we're going to do, we may want to go in, I can bring at least 3 properties in downtown Trinidad that are the primest candidates of all for what URA can do. But on this list, if we say 1,500, we got a pecking of 1,500. We do not, because this page alone identifies 31 or 45 that are not really contacts.
Maybe we should work on it one at a time, and as a group, say, let's target this
I
particular
think the
building.
post office has the ability for you to say, I want to get mail to this specific
Well, we
area.
can, that,
So we just we don't look at that list and don't strain our eyes on maybe something
we
like
have
that.
to,
Yeah, you don't
we have
want
to
to
be,
duplicate.
because there are, we don't want to go send this to a property owner that has a house up on the northwest corner of town.
What I'm saying is,
That's the, what I'm saying here is, this is a probable list. These are people that are in the tax district, TIF taxing district. But for various reasons, they're not anything we're going to go after, because these are owners of personal property.
What's the best way to call that then? 31 out of 45, that's not, I mean, that's a big throwaway list.
It is,
you know?
it is. Well,
But that
she told
narrows
us,
it down.
she told us that night, her personal property, taxable list went from 312 to 77.
Right.
Okay, so
What's the best way to call that? Have you figured that out?
I haven't.
Okay.
And as a group, we'll have to get together.
Well, yeah, we'll have to go, because you go, you look at the parcel number, and then we'll take a look at it, and it'll give you the information on the assessor site, and you can make a determination, it tells you where the piece of property is located, and if it's behind the hospital, it's somebody's, it's an air gas company or one of those things. So, I don't know if that's something you want to send a letter to, because there's no, it's a waste of resources and postage to send it to somebody like that. That's what, Jim, all I'm saying is, if we're gonna formulate that list, I think we want to target the list of the most blatant.
Rather than shotgun it out.
Yeah, there's a letter going, but, so some of them, it's an automatic in the trash, because it goes to somebody in Scottsdale, Arizona. They're gonna get it, crumble it, so you want it to be somebody here that says, yeah, that's my property, and I want to do it.
I agree 100% with that, with this caveat. Sometimes if you look at something and you say the man hours to actually call this list is going to be $300. The postage to actually send out is $200. And so you send out. So again, that's why I asked, how do you call a list? If this ends up being a thing where it's so arduous that you can't get it done,
So
it's very hard, right?
we have
Well, right now, we're still working on just getting a letter.
Right, exactly. But I just wanted to bring that up because it's on my mind. And I say a letter formulated to go out to who,
Right.
to who or whom, you look at that and say, okay, that's not. I think it would behoove this board to go out within a small area of the community, which would be the corner zone of the extended quarter-mile boundaries as we have on that facade program, and look and see what is most immediate. Yes,
That best suits our what the outcome we want, right?
it is, but it was mentioned in the past, hey, we've got a natural contact list here. It is not, because again, one page, and I didn't filter through every one of them. That 31 might be a greater number than 31 out of 45. So that's what I'm saying.
There's a tool that we have at the county that I can possibly ask to utilize to assist us when it does come down to the parcel numbers. It's called pictometry. It's not available to the public, but I do have access to it. And I could do it from my laptop, pinpoint, we can Just-
There you go, there's a common way, there's the method.
And we can.
Vice chair's got a new job.
We can put it on that
Yes.
computer screen somehow.
Yeah.
We can click and I have to be retrained from Miss Amato, but I can get it done.
Yeah, but that, I say, that was my,
No,
that was one of the tasks I delegated myself, and that's what I came up with. So again, we'll have to maybe manually go look at some properties, say, I got an address,
Yeah.
that should be the one. But then, you know the address, you gotta locate the property owner, because it may be an absentee or whatever.
so, Commissioner Lopez brought up that maybe the chair and I could sit down, since we have these dancing letters, and set a little time aside. We've already worked together before, he's awesome to work with if you haven't had a chance yet. And we just go through there, and we call something out, certainly bring that back to the board. When we look at it, then it does probably, it needs a legal stamp of approval before anything gets a signature, I think.
I recommend that.
Okay. So where it is, and we'll talk about it some more. Item number 5, legal services, and we've talked about that in the need. And I did inform everybody in my memo that I did contact Malcolm Murray of the law firm Murray, Dahlberry, and Renewal. And Malcolm was very instrumental. He was part of, he was the legal consultant in formulating the urban renewal plan for the city of Trinidad. Or the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. So he is familiar with the plan, he's familiar with Trinidad. And so, you know, he's just not available in the month of October. He's traveling in the month of October. So, I mean, again, if there's anybody else that, you know,
What do you think of the gentleman that we all met?
Paul Benedict, he's an excellent man. Like I say, he's got ties to Trinidad as well. But again.
Do we interview, do we ask them to come and talk to us a little bit? Is that the process?
Via email, maybe, just a quick, hey, this is what we're looking to do, what do you think your fees are gonna be, blah, blah, blah.
They're gonna give you the hourly charge.
Right.
And the final bill is gonna be based upon the number of hours that they put in. And so you know.
What's your feeling on that?
What's my feeling on it?
Of the two folks that you know them.
I love them both, and I worked with Malcolm on more than one occasion for TURA business. Again, Malcolm assisted with the formulation and the creation of the urban renewal plan. Malcolm was actually the person that encouraged it because he visits Trinidad on a very frequent basis on his drive through to Santa Fe. So he was here, so he was instrumental in.
And you've talked to him, he's interested in coming back and helping us?
He just said, I'm not available in the month of October, but he's familiar with Trinidad, the plan that was put together, Urban Renewal Authority, there's familiarity that we don't want to turn around and really onboard a lot of stuff.
To Commissioner Lopez's earlier comment, when you do that, is there a bidding process? Do you have to do an RFP for any of those kind of things, or can you?
Urban Renewal doesn't have that in our
Okay.
policy.
Okay.
That's not in our guidelines of.
You know, I can check with the city clerk's office to see if it's a requirement or not, but it does, in the state statute, it said, and I think I put that out here not very long ago when I talked about, it said that we may appoint, I didn't say you have to, we may appoint a executive director / secretary for administration if we go beyond our own capabilities. And it also says in there, it was I provided it, and it might have been last month's agenda, that we can consult with consultants, we can hire outside legal, I mean, so I'll find out what it is, but again, we have somebody that is
I'd be following your lead on that
Now,
personally.
when we did Aries, that wasn't put out.
it was, it's an on-call basis. So again, like I say, we can go with that, he can, you know, if he provides us, and I'm sure he'll be a go-to meeting presentation, because he is up in Denver. I'm sure he could attend if we make those, so I guess my question is to, Urban Renewal Authority, TURA, is if he wants to attend and, pitch in on the, November meeting, do I book him?
I'd say yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, like I say, I told him what we were looking at.
I like
You know,
relationships.
The mention of 1348, revisions to the document, and he said, yeah, those are, so he does, he's a URA specialist.
Nice.
That's what we need.
Well done.
Okay. All right, then I will see if we can book him for the meeting and have that for November. Item number 6, consultant services. In the past, we have used the services of Ayers and Associates. Mike Scholl, who is the urban planner, that is the one that has provided us with the assistance in the past. That is a year-to-year contract. It's on call based upon the hours that they provide to us, based upon the urban planner, and it spells it out in there how much, what it is for the urban planner, what it is for the.
170, 135.
So do we make contact with him to look at a contract for the coming year for consultation services as needed?
And it's worked out well?
Yes.
I have nothing to add then.
Could he possibly come in the November meeting too, so we could, with the attorney or?
Well, he could, yeah, he could be scheduled on there. I can, he has, in fact, you got to see him, were you here at that same meeting when we had that Zoom presentation? He did attend a meeting by.
Oh, I saw it. It was the one before I got here.
Yeah. You were.
But I did see it.
You were in the audience prior to your appointment, right?
Was it? I think so.
You guys were in, yeah. And I don't remember what we talked about, but he was in there. And yeah, he's the
Even if
one
you would do a
that,
Zoom
and he's, yeah.
Yeah, we'd rather have him do that.
Yeah.
Come in Zoom. But I don't know if we need him here during the attorney meeting. I don't think it's necessary, actually.
We already have a relationship with him,
Right.
We're just continuing a contract with him, this other guy,
Right.
doing some due diligence and discovery.
Okay.
So,
But I can forewarn them that we'll be considering a contract for the coming year. They can present it. I'm sure there'll be a difference in fees. But again, I gave you a copy of the contract. It spells out what it is that they do for urban renewal, Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority in that contract. And we are nearing the year's end, so I need to bring that up. Consensus is to tell them to move forward.
Move forward.
All right. Item number 7, Americana Road Project, pay estimate number 8. Now, I did, again, I got this ready very early because I was gone a major portion of last week. So at that point, the pay request number 8 had not been received. At your seating places this evening, I did place a copy. It has, you got the full pay request in the agenda. And I provided to you a copy of the signature page, bearing signatures of all the pertinent entities on there. City of Trinidad, the construction company, project manager, and city manager. So everybody has signed off on it. So it is on the agenda on the regular meeting. There was not a number, but that number will be at $73,197. And that is in the actual agenda pack. If you look in there, that entire 5-page document is in there.
It's not the 1 million, 1.2 million.
It's
73,000.
It's around 2.6 million is what it is. And this tells you, if you look in that document, it tells you, I think they figure 48% complete at this particular time. It is reviewed by the project manager. It is reviewed by the project manager at City Hall, Jenny Jackson.
That was my question.
Yes, so it is reviewed.
I have a question, and I don't know if it's pertinent or not, but I know when projects take place, there's always add-ons or extras that they had to go through. At the end of all of this, where are we?
We contractor will cover the differences.
Well, there are change orders that have happened already. There are change orders that are included in this $73,000. Those are approved by the project. Any overages on that project over that 2.5, I can't remember what the number is, but it is noted at the total, anything's on there.
2.579.
Okay, that number, anything that exceeds that is to be borne by the developer. That's written in that development agreement that you will see, that's already written in there. So any overages on that is going to be borne by the developer. That's understandable.
And as slowly as that project's going, I'm sure they're gonna incur that.
Well, a lot of it has been supply chain.
Supply chain?
Supply chain and weather. So that is on the Americana Road is on the pay. Again, I mentioned earlier that I have a bill for $39 for the printing that you've seen. I'm gonna ask at the regular session if we can amend that. I will need motions and seconds and votes, but just as an FYI, otherwise Ron has to wait till next month for his $39.
Ron shouldn't do that.
All right, item number 8, and I just got that today, Ray, we're being a little bit sooner, I'm sorry, I apologize for that, but, item number 8, travel and training. But anyway, the, DCI is holding a TIF Finance Housing TIF Finance Housing Summit in Pueblo, Friday, October the 28th, I think the actual hours, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I have that just about every year. It's been,
I would like to go.
yeah, it's been held. Now, did you get the invitation, the email invitation?
Not yet.
I have to.
Okay, I gave them everybody's, I can,
I might have had to check them out.
Okay.
No, I'm really good at my mail.
Okay. All right, I can get you registered.
I'm not available.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah, I would like to go. I have to change some things around. Fridays are tough for me, but I think it's important.
okay. Commissioner Cochran?
I'm not gonna attend that one.
Okay,
I'm not sure, have to wait to see.
okay.
We have last day of our session, last day of the college on the 20th, so if it would have been till Monday, I could have probably.
So I'll put in for one
I
more.
don't think two is gonna.
Okay, will you don't check?
I'm going to, that's my plan, unless something happens and really takes me off the map, that's my plan.
There you go.
Or Halloween, I don't know. Item number 7, just a reminder, we still have one more vacancy. And number 10, items for future work session discussion. And Commissioner Cochran, you mentioned you have something.
I do have something, so I'd like to propose a project for us to get involved in, and I'll pass this thing around to you. You've already looked at it. So this is a house that is on Arizona Avenue in Goddard. It is under the dilapidated houses with the city of Trinidad. It has a $26,000 lien on it. The owner is deceased, and any lineage of her family is not interested and does not want to take part in this piece of property. So my proposal is that TURA goes in and purchases this lien and takes $125,000 and makes that house sellable and sells the house for $175,000, and we profit $25,000, which is $1,000 more than our TIF income for a year. And I have 3 others that I'd like to do this with, but I'd like to propose that we do this one as our preliminary project. I really think that we can make this one work.
If you can get the lien, we could probably get the property through the college, and we can fix that one up. That's been a target.
Okay, so that was my next question.
That's what I was.
How are we going to work with the college? Can the college provide employees? Can the college provide the people to do the project through the school?
We've been desiring this house,
Okay.
but the problem is legal, and it's always been.
Okay, so it's O&E. So what we need to do is we need to file an R&E and an O&E.
Arizona emissions.
No, an occupancy and encumbrance. So that's gonna cost us $200 through the title company. So once we get that done, then we can go in and we can purchase this note from the county, and that property can become TURA's property for $26,000, $26,200.
If we worked with the college, is there a way though to actually split revenue, so we actually come out with some dollars and you come out with some dollars?
That would be, we're working with the fund, which is Colorado, somebody, it's Copper, COPERR, and it goes up to the state and, different things. I would be speaking out of line, but we've been wanting to fix that house up.
Property card has
And every time we work with Ken Robinson and, you know, the building inspector, and then he's gone back, and we've been back and forth, and every time it's come back to the thing with the needs. And when Mike Valentine was here, he was looking to try to help us with that.
Now, was the reason you weren't able to do it is you didn't have the funding to?
No, it wasn't that we couldn't, what they would like to do is, like I said, I would like to coordinate this.
Yeah.
Help coordinate it, because we can do this.
I know we can.
Other than-
But it's a great tour.
Now, when you're saying we, are you saying TS?
TURA.
Or TURA?
Both. I'm saying both.
So on the county level, it looks like the lien is 20,000 back taxes to the county and then the other special districts, right?
That's
Is
correct.
that the only money owed on it?
So far, that's all I've been able to pull up.
Okay, so how it works, well, you can bring this, once the O&E is filed, to the treasurer's office. After the lien is paid in full, then you can come before the Board of County Commissioners, or the renewal can, and ask for the abatement of that fee. Or the penalties. So I don't know how much is the penalties and interest on it, but Board of County Commissioners can forgive that funding after it's paid. So
Okay,
there might
so-
be another mechanism, a tool in the toolbox to assist with this project.
And that's what I'm saying. I think we're in, so that could be in our wheelhouse. The
I would want
logistics of all
to
that.
move forward on this.
So if there's a way to do this successfully, where TURA makes some dollars and we actually, revenue, well, we need revenue,
Right.
and we were able to work with the TSC to where it worked out well, that sets down a whole new opportunity for us to really put homes back on the market, to really make things good, improve neighborhoods.
I have a list of homes I've gone and looked at personally, took my time to go and personally walk them.
I have probably looked at those things.
And I have a list of ones that we can do. And then I also have a list of ones that I believe we should purchase anyways and scrape them and sell the
So the
properties.
big elephant question I have, is this in our purview to do so moving forward?
Well, this is, yes to me now, my shoulders again. Two things that have to happen here. One, we figure out through what it takes, again, an attorney. It's already been mentioned more than once. Secondly, this is where your urban developer or your URA specialist would guide us on it, which is Harris and Associates. So yeah, they could be doable projects, but they have to be within the parameters of what the state statute allows and what we can do and what the governing board of the city desires us to
So
do.
far, everything that I've read through, I believe this is in our wheelhouse.
Well, we can.
Now, I'm not a lawyer, so we
Well,
need a
please.
lawyer to.
Yeah.
So we budgeted for consulting and attorneys, so that.
Yes.
And here's the thing, if you go through that and it's a no-go, it's a no-go.
We've only wasted a few $100, but if we can, there's 31 of them that we could work with. And that is what urban renewal is about, right? It's about renewing our little city. And if there's 31 little places on this, all within.
We change neighborhoods.
All within what, 4 miles? I mean, I don't think I drove more than 4 miles to each one of them. These are all right here.
They're within the boundaries of the city.
They're all within the boundaries of our urban renewal authority. And we can make money doing it. No, we're not gonna get rich. This isn't gonna,
But it's affordable housing.
It's affordable housing.
no, we can't.
Well, what's
use
75?
that.
Well,
We can't use that term.
It's affordable housing, not subsidized housing.
That's right. It's a reasonably priced home.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Affordable housing is a completely different
Okay,
term.
so
I'm
housing
using
is
the wrong
different.
term. But just to let you know, that's what's needed in this town.
And I think we can do that with this first one, fairly quickly. And we don't have to fix this thing up, by the way, all the way to livable condition. We just need to fix it up to sellable condition.
Okay.
What's on the agenda?
Just want to make, well, it'll go for discussion. I mean,
There's a lot of entities that go.
But one of the things that meeting that is going to take place on October 28th concerns this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we do have to come back.
Well, there's no TIF involved in this. This is not a TIF project.
Well, it ends up being TIF later on. Well,
Yes.
now we-
No, it does not.
No,
Because
it's
TIF
carved
goes to
out.
the city, because we're
No,
not
no,
part of that.
TIF comes to us. TIF
Not
comes-
off residential. it
Not off
doesn't.
It won't,
residential.
but we're gonna spend our money on residential. We use our TIF. That
But
money you
but
saw.
we'll make our money back in selling the
Yeah,
project.
we will, but
Yeah.
in the process of buying it, redoing it, getting it ultimately sale, you've got attorneys and consultation costs in
Well,
there.
we can keep
We've
that
gotta
number
work on that in there,
minimal.
but
What
yeah.
we need
We're
is
working
the
on
attorney
it.
to say, yeah, you can do it, and then we just do it.
It's worth, it's worth the
It's
effort.
not a
No, we can look
huge.
at it. I mean, it's not like it's not, you know, it's to be looked into, I'm just saying, but. so
I was able to, as just a normal guy off the street, go in and find out that I can actually make this happen by myself if I can come up with $26,000. Oh, and the 200 for the O&E. Personally, I could do this. So if I can do it, this board can do
Well,
it for
you,
sure.
you can do it. It's, as an individual owner, there's a lot of things you can do. When you're using,
Yeah.
when you
Using
operate
public
under
funds, you gotta do
certain when you under certain aspects of the law. Because using public funds, you have to walk a certain. it's not-
But
we're
it
gonna
is
make
in our
sure-
wheelhouse because we are urban.
But
Yeah,
you're
we're
right,
gonna make
but
sure-
But we're gonna do it.
We're gonna make sure our consultant and our attorneys say it's okay. We're not gonna get up and.
Exactly so.
Yeah, a horse, right?
And also too.
It's a good opportunity.
In regards to the college, they've got to be able to be okay with it as well. I mean, you know, speaking for them.
To get this on the,
We're gonna move forward with it if we just did it ourselves.
Right.
And then invite other parties.
Right.
what I need for you to do then is I need all that, put it on a document to me.
Okay.
And it'll get on there. I mean, it's,
Okay.
that will be necessary so I can get it onto next month's agenda.
I'll get it to you there.
Okay, all right. So my thing is, then I can get a hold of Malcolm Murray, tell him I'd like to schedule him on a go-to meeting coming for next month in November the 10th.
We have a project opportunity, we'd like to listen to it.
Well, might be a little soon on that part.
Yeah.
That may have to come with a closed session. Okay? And I will get a hold of Ayers and Associates as well to tell them that we're interested in renewing a contract. Well, see what the contract terms are for the next year. All right, is there anything else? All right then, we are going to move from the work session to the regular meeting. This is a Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Today is October the 13th, 2022. It is 7:09 PM. Roll call.
Bagley,
Here.
Cochran,
Here.
Howlett,
Here.
Leone,
Here,
Lopez,
Here.
Greco.
Here, and I may have jumped ahead of myself one step. I did mention the Cedar Street printing invoice for the printing. Would we like to amend the agenda to place that on for payment?
I move that we amend the agenda.
Commissioner Howlett with the motion, Commissioner Bagley with the second. Any questions, comments? Roll call?
Bagley,
Yes.
Cochran,
Here.
Yes.
Howlett,
Yes.
Leone,
yes,
Lopez,
Yes.
Greco.
Yes, and before I proceed on, again, it's on my mind. Brittany, I really appreciate all that you've done over the past week. I know you're not feeling well, we can tell by your voice, but what you do is appreciated more than you know.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
absolutely.
Item number 3 on the agenda would be the financial report. And as mentioned, Brittany has been away from her desk, out of the building and ill for the past several days. So at this point, there's not a financial report that we can review, accept, or discuss. So I would just like to, we'll just move on from that.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve, item to approve the minutes.
Yes.
We haven't done.
I thought we did.
No, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna back up then.
So,
I'll second that.
I thought you guys are here to keep me honest. Approval of the minutes from the September the 8th meeting? September 8, 2022 meeting. There was a motion to accept by Commissioner Howlett with a second by Commissioner Cochran.
Yep.
Any further questions, comments? I'm losing my voice. Roll call, please.
Bagley,
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Howlett,
Yes.
Leone,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
and Grego.
And that's a yes. Item number 4, consideration of bills. Item A, Purgatory Valley Construction on the Americana Road Project. Total for the pay request number 8, $73,197.
Make a motion to approve the payment to $73,197 to Purgatory Valley Construction.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Lopez makes the motion to approve with the second by Commissioner Leone. Further questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Bagley,
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Howlett,
Yes.
Leone,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item 4B, Cedar Street printing for $39, and that is for the printing of the 2 documents that I placed at everybody's desk position on the DIE this evening. Is there a motion for approval?
I'd like to make a motion to approve that, the invoice to Cedar Street Printing.
And I'll second that.
Commissioner Howlett with the motion to approve with Commissioner Bailey on the second. Any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Bagley,
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Howlett,
Yes.
Leone,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item number 6 is old business, and we have no old business. Item number 7, new business, there's none of record. Item number 8 is reports by executive director. We operate with no executive director, but as chairman, I can tell you that one of my activities over the past month is contained fully, as you can see in the agenda packet that was provided.
Excuse me, did you miss number 5?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
No.
No, I don't have
any.
I didn't. I have to work that back. I'm sorry. I did forget. Item number 5, petitions or communications, oral or written. Is there anybody in the audience or anybody on go-to meetings that would like to address Urban Renewal Authority? Second time, anybody in presence or on go-to meetings that would like to address Urban Renewal Authority? Let the record reflect that there is no one that would like to come forward to address Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number 6, old business, there is none. Item number 7, no new business, old business done. Item 7, new business, none. Item number 8, report by executive director, none. Well, again, as chairman, the agenda, I did also make a presentation to City Council regarding Trinidad Urban Renewal on September 20th, 2002. That was done at the request of City Council. All boards and commissions are invited to come in and give City Council reports and updates on what is going on. I also participated for a brief time yesterday with, on the call in to Downtown Colorado Incorporated for the Urban Renewal monthly call-in, and in there some pretty good information was provided, especially by Mr. Troy Bernberg of Northland Securities regarding the current, what the financial situation is and how it's affecting bonding and those things related to Urban Renewal Authorities. So that was on there. Other than that, I have nothing else. Reports by commissioners. Commissioner Howlett?
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Cochran? Commissioner Lopez?
Yes, thank you. We have a meeting coming up regarding Cougar Canyon work session with the county commissioners on October 28th. That's why I'm not available to go to the training. And so we have a group of investors that are coming into Los Angeles County that are possibly willing and looking at recovering and moving forward with that project out there. They've got a lot of money behind them. We'll see what comes of it.
So
So
the opportunity zone portion of that?
and everything. So we'll see what happens. So that's why won't be attending October 28th.
Wow.
Commissioner Leone?
I can't beat that.
Commissioner Bagley?
I don't have.
All right then, I'm starting to lose my voice as well. That being said, would then.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It is 7:17 PM. Motion by Commissioner Cockrell to adjourn.
I think it was.
Second by Commissioner Lopez.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned, 7:17.
Great job. Great job, man. You accomplished a lot. Great job. Small amount of time.
Starting to get our stride.
Hey, Ed,
Yes. Hit the
did you
recording
say
button.